All right. Microsoft 365 Copilot is here. We are excited. As an avid Copilot user myself, it is changing the way that I work, I operate, as well as a lot of members on our team here at Wheelhouse IT. We want to thank you to our current clients and to our new connections that are currently on the webinar with us. We're glad that you're taking this educational journey to kind of see how Copilot can help spearhead your organization, help you be a little more efficient. I'm looking at it as personally as an assistant that I never knew I had. It's incredible the things that it can do. So we're happy to see how you guys can leverage it internally. If you are new to Wheelhouse IT, just a little bit about us and how we can help. We offer Microsoft consulting and support. We are an award-winning Microsoft partner. We also handle managed IT services. So effectively, we become the IT department for your organization. If you have internal IT, then we can also help you offset what that internal IT department may or may not be doing. And then we can also help you with managed security services. Just quickly about Wheelhouse IT, we're a team of over 60 talented IT professionals headquartered here in South Florida with an office in the New York area. We offer true 24/7, 365 coverage without outsourcing any of our services. So 100% of the team that works on your account is a full-time Wheelhouse IT employee dedicated to the Wheelhouse ecosystem, so not using a third party to help leverage how we support our service. And lastly, we love to just be informational and educational. So that's what this whole thing is about. So we hope that you walk away with some nuggets of information that you can take back to your organization. So with that, I'm going to turn off the Wheelhouse IT commercial and throw it over to Matt, who's going to sort of take over the presentation from here. So Matt, I'll give it to you and look forward to learning more about how I can leverage Copilot internally myself.
Sounds great. Yeah, thanks, Rory, and thank you everybody for joining today. Really appreciate the time investment. I hope you're as excited as I am. So Microsoft has officially launched Copilot for Microsoft 365, and we're going to talk through it today. I'm going to show you some really amazing demos of how you might be able to use this inside your organization, and kind of give you some tips and tricks on how to get started and how to think about it. Obviously, we could probably spend all day talking about this. There's so much to talk about. So if you do have additional questions after today, please let the Wheelhouse IT team know, and I'm sure they're happy to follow up with you and help you through that. Okay, so let's jump into Copilot for Microsoft 365. Just real quick, there's multiple Copilots that Microsoft has, right? There's Copilot for GitHub and Copilot for Power Automate and Sales. Today, we're going to be talking about Copilot for Microsoft 365. If you just take a quick step back and you just think about what's happening in the world, and you think about what's happening technology-wise, things are transforming very quickly. And when you think about kind of where we're at technology-wise, it wasn't too long ago when the internet launched. It also was not too long ago when everybody had a computer in their home, and it wasn't too long ago when everybody started getting smartphones and social media. So where are we going with all of this? That's the interesting part, right? And now with the introduction of artificial intelligence, and we're starting to see individuals and businesses adopt AI, things are getting very interesting. And so the world is changing, and I see that as an opportunity. I see it as an opportunity for us as individuals. I see it as an opportunity for us as businesses. So again, let me take you on that journey a little bit. If you think about just cell phones, mobile phones, their introduction, in the kind of popularity, if you will, kind of the mid to late 90s when they actually started getting popular. And I remember having the old bag phone back in the day. That was 16 years ago, and it took up until now to get to 100 million users that use cell phones every day. If you think about the internet, it took the internet 7 years to get to 100 million users. If you think about social media and really how Facebook started it all, it took 4.5 years, almost 5 years to get to 100 million users. But ChatGPT, it only took 3 months, right? And I remember, around this time last year, when ChatGPT first started hitting the market, and people are like, what is ChatGPT? Not soon after, it hit 100 million users that use it every day. So pretty impressive stuff. And I think what this means and when you want to think about is that, again, AI is here, it's real, and it's something that you want to start looking at not only as an individual, but also as a business. And so when you think about the impact that AI has, I want you to think about it from a revenue generation perspective, from a GDP perspective. And if you look at, even in this slide here from the 1800s, the GDP multiplier was about 4x. And now in the early 2000s here, and getting into the 2020s, we're at a 20x multiplier. And with AI, where are we going to be at just a couple of years from now? And it's only been about a year since AI has really hit the mainstream stage. So this is really exciting to see, and this is really exciting to see what organizations and businesses and governments and individuals are doing with AI. If any of you on the call today, if you're doing something with AI, that's amazing. If you're not doing anything with AI, you probably want to start thinking about how you can use AI to better compete and better service your customers, and how to be more efficient and how to operate more efficiently. And the impact is real. And you'll see that as you start to look at the Copilot video demonstrations here. I'm going to show you here in just a moment. So a couple things I do want you to think about. So as I show you Copilot for Microsoft 365, and again, this is just kind of one AI capability, but I want you to start thinking about your organization. What are the goals you have around AI? Do you have any strategy around AI? You probably want to start to consider that and start thinking through that. And when you think about what AI can do for the business, well, what are your pain points? What are your daily challenges? Maybe for you as an individual, for you as a business leader, as an executive, what are those recurring tasks? What are those time-consuming tasks that AI might be able to help you with? And then when you think about your capabilities as an organization, again, think about how can you go compete more effectively against your competitors? How can you enter those new markets? How can you grow the business with AI? Now, a lot of this does come at a cost, right? And the cost is security and compliance. And so do you have a data security and a data strategy in place? And what does that look like, for your organization? And do you have the necessary, resources to be able to support AI? So these are kind of things I want you to think about as we look at the capabilities of Copilot for Microsoft 365. And again, if this is something that you would like some assistance with, Wheelhouse IT and the team, happy to work with you on that. Okay, so Copilot for Microsoft 365, what is this? Well, it is you taking the capabilities of ChatGPT. So if you've used ChatGPT or you've used Bing Chat or now Copilot for Bing, if you've used any of those AI capabilities, maybe to find recipes or help it write a resume or do some kind of a task, that's essentially what's being brought to the Microsoft 365 apps. So think of Word and Excel and PowerPoint, Teams, Outlook, all the apps you use every day. We're now bringing large language models, AI, and what's called basically GPT to those apps so you can have this more natural interaction. And you'll see coming up here in some of these video demonstrations, I can ask it to create a slide deck based on a customer proposal. And I just ask it in plain language, natural language, and it will go through and create that slide deck for me. And so it also is able to not only connect to my internal data, so maybe data that's in my OneDrive or stored in a SharePoint site, but it's also able to connect to data sources elsewhere. Maybe my custom line of business apps, my CRM system, my ERP system, even the internet. And so Copilot for Microsoft 365, the way I like to think about this is it does make you more productive, and it allows you to be more creative as well. Even for me, kind of in my daily interactions with it and just kind of running my business, being able to use Copilot to summarize meetings and be able to help me write more effective emails to my team and being able to communicate with clients more easily, it saves me a lot of time. And so as I go through this, I want you to start thinking through how can this save you time? What are the use cases that you could immediately start to apply in your daily use of it? But then think about your team. How could they use this given the repetitive tasks and maybe the nature of their job roles? Because really the art of the possible here is almost endless. And I'm going to show you some demonstrations but there's so much more to it. You almost have to just kind of get your hands on it and start using it to really understand the capability. Okay, well, that's enough talking about it. What I want to do is I want to show you a video to kind of summarize the capabilities here of Copilot for Microsoft 365. And then I'm going to go into each one of the individual apps, and we'll talk through each one of those. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play a video here. And let's see what Copilot for Microsoft 365 is all about. Okay, so as you saw in the video there, you saw a lot of different capabilities of Copilot. And what I want you to kind of start thinking about is there's no third-party add-ons. There's no additional software you need to install. It's literally built into Teams. It's built into Outlook. It's built into Excel, PowerPoint, Word, even Microsoft Loop, and some of the other Microsoft productivity tools. There's nothing else you have to go and deploy and install, nothing else you have to manage. It's just built in. And so as you saw in that overview video, right within that productivity app, if we say Word, for example, right in it on the sidebar, I have the Copilot sidebar where I can start to interact with it. So it's within the app itself, which makes it even easier. And so just a key consideration there. Now, if you're a user that you like to use either the Office apps on your desktop or even use it maybe on the web clients like Office for the web, Copilot works across both of those. And so it really kind of follows you around wherever you may access those apps. Okay, one of my favorite features is what's called business chat. And so when you open up Teams, you're enabled for Copilot, you will have a chat that is just for Microsoft 365 Copilot. It's just at the top of your chat list. And I'm looking at mine right now in my Teams. And so you can interact with that throughout the day for almost anything you want. So what I want to show you next is a quick video demonstration of how do you kind of plan for a meeting with one of your clients using business chat, using Copilot in Teams. And then we'll talk through some additional use cases here of business chat. This is one of my favorite features because I'm constantly interacting with it all day. In fact, I have it popped out and I have it dedicated on my other monitor here. I've got 3 monitors. I have it dedicated on my other monitor, and that's how I'm just interacting with it all day long. And I'm even using voice dictation. So I'm constantly wearing my headset. I'm a headset guy, but I have voice dictation on my computer. So rather than typing and getting my fingers tired, I will just click the microphone, do voice dictation to business chat, and then interact with Copilot that way. So let me roll the video here, and let's check out how to plan for a client meeting in business chat and give you some ideas here of how to use it.
Introducing Business Chat, which can be accessed from Microsoft365.com, from Bing, or from right in Teams. Let's start with how it can help you prepare for a client meeting. You start by asking Copilot to summarize all your recent customer interactions, meetings, content you've shared, any issues and deliverables. Copilot works across your calendar, emails, chats, documents, and meetings to find all the pertinent information. It takes a moment to generate a response, and now you've got a concise summary, complete with citations and sources. You can hover over names to see their details, view quotes to validate where comments were discovered, and source files to verify information or find out more. Now you know product lead times are likely to come up, so you ask Copilot to help you prepare all the details. Copilot then combs through your documents, meetings, emails, PowerPoint files, and company resources to generate a thorough response. Copilot synthesizes everything you need so you can feel.
I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time trying to manually find stuff to prepare for a meeting, even just a follow up to maybe an email. And to simply just go out and ask Copilot, help me prepare for a meeting I have scheduled later today. And it pulls together everything I need from all the different sources. I mean, that's pretty amazing. It's almost science fiction, right? And so it's here and it's ready. So that's a great example of using this to plan for a client meeting. Let's maybe look at a different context of planning for maybe business strategy and maybe more of like an executive review. So check this out.
If you're working on your business strategy, you need to be able to pull together a bunch of information, and it could take you hours to find it all. Copilot can help you do that quickly with natural language. For example, you ask Copilot to pull up quarterly projections from an Excel sheet and identify any related risks. It scans through your Excel file and quickly produces a summary of the pertinent projections, and also interprets key risks associated with the data. Now, you ask it to generate a SWOT analysis based on this information. Copilot creates a loop component and categorizes the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in a single view so you can see what to prioritize. You can also share this component to collaborate with other colleagues. You notice one of the items is incorrect, so you can jump right in and change it. That looks good, so you ask Copilot to turn this SWOT analysis into a new slide for your upcoming executive review. Now it's creating and adding the slide. And then it gives you a preview so that you have confidence that the change.
It's like having an executive assistant, a college intern right there helping me out in real time. And so that's a great example of using business chat. Let me give you one more example here. I use this frequently around status updates with my team, and I think this might give you some ideas as well. So let's check this out.
Change was made, and you can further refine it in PowerPoint. Whenever you need to update your team on developments from various events or meetings, Copilot can help with that too, ensuring that critical information keeps flowing. You start by requesting a summary of 2 meetings from earlier in the day. Copilot combs through your meeting transcripts and generates a draft that updates the team on critical decisions to keep everyone moving forward. Copilot provides citations to show you where the information came from. You can hover over them to get more detail. You spot some key information that Copilot missed that you think is important to share with the team. So you ask Copilot to add it. It scans through the meeting transcripts and regenerates the response to include the extra details. With your meeting recap ready, it's time to share. You jump to the Teams channel where you can refine your update and then share with the team. Copilot is a game changer for saving you time and helping you stay focused on what's most important.
All right, so business chat, it is a game changer. It's right there within Teams. You can even use it on Teams Mobile on your smartphone if you like. So let's pivot a little bit and let's talk about using Copilot for Microsoft 365, but specifically in chat and using Loop. So if you're not familiar with Loop, it allows you to, in real time to kind of co-author whether an email or a document, or just maybe come up with some bullet points for some ideas with colleagues. So let me show you how Copilot would work in that case.
Copilot can help you stay on top of it all, summarizing Teams chats so you quickly see what you missed. Here you were asked for an update on the customer, and Copilot can help there too. You can simply ask Copilot to create a summary of all the customer conversations. It produces a summary with citations so that you can verify the details, refine it as needed, and post your update. You just received an invitation to brainstorm in a Loop workspace. Loop is a multiplayer collaboration canvas with Copilot as an AI peer along with everyone else. Here the team is collaborating in real time on product offers and pricing, adding notes and action items to keep everyone on track and up to date. You can ask Copilot to create a dataset from Excel on the top-selling products by category, and it will analyze and fetch the relevant data and compile it in a table. Since this is a loop component, another member of your team can jump in and add a column for proposed discounts. Copilot even populates the data based on the specific instruction. Anyone can prompt Copilot to build on each other's ideas collaboratively, so that everyone can see from the prompt history how it arrived at the current state, with the option of undoing any instruction. Now you can close out the action item and get ready to meet with a customer.
So pretty cool stuff. Again, it's happening within the context there of Teams. So you're never actually having to leave Teams. It's almost like your OS or your operating system for your daily work. So some really interesting stuff there and Teams using Copilot. Now, on the context of Teams, let's keep this conversation going. So now what I want you to think about is how you use Teams on a daily basis to attend meetings, maybe with your clients, with partners, with vendors, internal employees. And if you're like me and you're on a lot of meetings, it can be difficult to keep track of notes. It can be difficult to even just keep track of what's happening in all these meetings when you're kind of back to back. Well, Copilot to the rescue. So let me show you some capabilities here of how to use Copilot in Teams. I think you're going to love this.
Imagine you have an appointment that conflicts with your weekly business review. What if you could do both? With Copilot, you can opt to follow a meeting. After the meeting ends, Copilot will summarize what you missed. You'll get a notification in Teams when the recap is ready. This recap will highlight content that was shared, summarize notes, and any action items for you or others whose names were mentioned. You see that one of your customers was discussed, and you want to learn more. You can ask Copilot clarifying questions, and it provides a detailed response. It can tell you why a certain decision was made, and gives you helpful context. You can even ask Copilot what other solutions were considered, and it provides citations from the transcript so you can see where Copilot drew these conclusions. It's a huge time saver. So that was pretty cool. But the real magic of Copilot happens during a live meeting. Let's say you're in a meeting with your team. You can ask Copilot to summarize the meeting so far. You can see how it summarizes who said what points were made, and it's really capturing the spirit of the discussion. And as the meeting progresses, you can check in on where people stand. You can even ask Copilot what questions are unresolved. It's just amazing to see this happen in real time during a meeting.
I absolutely love this feature. This is probably my favorite Copilot feature out of all of the features here with Copilot for Microsoft 365. Being able to have it recap a meeting, even give you action items. So if I said, hey, Rory, could you do this thing for me? It's going to take a note of that, and it's going to be able to surface that here when I ask it what were the action items coming out of the meeting. It also allows me, as you can see here in this intelligent recap window, I can see meeting sentiment. So if we look at somebody like Monica, I could see how was her attitude? How was her speech? Did she have any negativity? Did she reflect positivity during the time that she spoke during the meeting? And then you can see those little dashes there. That allows me to see when did she speak during the meeting. And so you have a little video player up above. I can even click on those dashes and it takes me right to that point in the meeting of maybe where she spoke. And I can even do a search and maybe search for my name. So as you heard here in the video, if I maybe missed this meeting, I wanted to just get a recap, I could do a search to say, find anywhere where somebody said, hey, Matt, or Matt Sosman, and then being able to just go directly to that point in the meeting. And then here you can see all of the meeting notes that were taken by Copilot. And then I could follow up on the right side there with any kind of questions to get more clarity or detail. Absolute game changer. With Teams, this is all built in, right? There's no additional add-ons you have to do. If you're not using Teams for meetings, obviously you wouldn't have Copilot, but there's a lot of capability here that comes with Microsoft 365 when you use Teams for those meetings. And this is just, it's amazing stuff. I get very excited about it because think about just how much time this can save you. Okay, I know everybody uses Outlook. Everybody, you live in your email. You live and die and breathe by email. So let's think about how to use Copilot in Outlook. Now, the demonstration here is going to walk you through just several features, but there's so many other ways you can use it. In fact, for me, every day, I ask it to summarize all of my emails. And this morning when I woke up, got my coffee, sat down, summarized my emails from the previous night where I had some messages in my inbox. And it bulletized a summary of those emails. Many different ways you can use this, but let me give you a few ideas here.
We all struggle with the pull of the inbox. Sometimes it keeps us from focusing on our most important work. But at the same time, you have important emails to respond to. Copilot can help you separate the signal from the noise and give you hours of time back. Copilot can help you triage your inbox, highlighting the most important emails to prioritize. And Copilot also helps you on the go in Outlook Mobile. It can summarize long email threads. You can draft a reply, use data from an Excel file, and Copilot will generate a reply for you. You can edit it. You can make it more concise, change the writing style, or add more context. Now all that's left to do is review the proposed response and hit send. It's a productivity.
All right, so again, really cool stuff using Copilot in Word. Now I get excited about Excel and using Copilot. I don't get excited about Excel, right? But using Copilot in Excel, I get very excited. And so if you're someone, maybe you are working in finance, maybe you work frequently with data in Excel, you're probably like me, you're creating pivot tables, you're trying to do data analysis. Copilot can speed all of that up. It'll even do some of that automatically for you. So let me show you some demonstrations of how to think about using Copilot Excel to transform what you do every day in Excel.
Copilot puts all the rich capabilities of Excel at your fingertips. Say you need to analyze this quarter's sales results for the monthly business review. You start by asking Copilot to analyze the data and give you 3 key trends. Within seconds, you've got what you need, but you want to drill in. You ask Copilot a follow-up question about one of the trends. Copilot creates a new sheet, giving you a sandbox to play in, and helping you get a better understanding of what's happening without modifying the data in the original sheet. You ask Copilot to visualize what contributed to the decline in sales growth this period. Copilot adds a little color to make the problem jump off the page. Now you want to dig a little deeper and ask a follow-up question with a what-if scenario. Copilot not only answers your question, it creates a simple model of the scenario, and even asks you if you want to learn more about what it did, with a step-by-step breakdown. Finally, you can ask it to create a graph of your projected model. Copilot has turned a sea of data into clear insights and actions.
That's really cool. Now notice on the Copilot sidebar there, you can even attach files. And so that's used to be able to feed it data and feed it information from other sources to then go and generate whatever you're generating here in this main window, in this case, for Excel. But again, game-changing stuff. Like if I could use this to help me get better at analyzing my data in Excel, this is going to save me a lot of time. Okay, so I have a few more things I want to show you, then we'll start to wrap up. So let's talk about Copilot in PowerPoint.
Everyone has had a moment when they wish that they could turn their proposal into a custom-ready presentation without having to start from scratch. Now you can. Using just your own words, Copilot can translate Word into PowerPoint. Now you have a professional-looking presentation that you can hone and polish. Let's say you want to add a slide. Give Copilot some quick instructions and it immediately generates it for you. There it goes. Copilot doesn't always get everything right, so it's important to verify you are happy with it and make any edits that are needed. So this slide is too wordy. You can ask Copilot to make it more visual, which it does effortlessly. And check this out, Copilot can even animate the slide. It gives it a professional design treatment in a single click. But it doesn't stop there. Copilot automatically generates speaker notes for all your slides. It's not only a time saver, it's helping you be a better presenter. Viva Sales brings all your key sales processes and data to Microsoft 365 and Copilot. It lets you focus on connecting with your customer and closing the deal. As the meeting starts, you quickly use Copilot in Viva Sales to scan CRM data to get the latest, including an account overview, recent engagements with a customer, and their key areas of focus. All the information you need to have a productive conversation. When your customer asks how your product compares to one of your competitors, Copilot gives you a suggestion from your sales materials. As the meeting ends, Copilot recaps the call to clearly outline next steps. These meeting details are saved right back to your CRM. Afterwards, you are ready to follow up on the meeting and send a proposal. With a simple click of a button, Copilot gets you started and drafts a recap of the meeting and action items. You can make any adjustments to include additional details before sending. And when the customer accepts your offer, Copilot in Viva Sales automatically suggests an update to CRM to close the opportunity as won.
All right, so really cool stuff. Okay, let me shift gears just for a moment. I want to talk about a couple things here. The first one is around being able to measure adoption of Copilot and being able to basically measure its impact. So there's a number of insights and reporting that's available. And so through Viva Insights, you can pull up this Microsoft Copilot dashboard and be able to see, well, how is it affecting your organization, right? How much time is actually being saved in meetings and using chat and email and documents? Who's using Copilot? How are they using it? What's that adoption rate look like? And so all the telemetry is being pulled into this dashboard that allows you to kind of monitor the adoption and help you understand, okay, am I getting a return on that investment with Copilot? So something to keep in your back pocket as you start to get deeper into Copilot. There are some valuable business insights for you that you can use as a way to measure your adoption. Okay, one other thing I want to mention here is Copilot Studio. And so as you saw in the demonstrations, I can interact with the different Microsoft 365 apps, the Office apps. But what if I want this thing to connect to my line of business apps, my CRM database? Maybe I'm using Salesforce. Maybe I want it to connect to something else within the organization. I can use Copilot Studio to customize it, right? I can even use Copilot Studio to create my own Copilot, maybe put it on my website and make it revenue generating. So Copilot Studio allows you to extend the capabilities of Copilot for Microsoft 365. Now you're probably wondering about security, right? What if this thing goes out and generates a document that contains sensitive data? What happens then? So let me roll a quick demonstration here around how to think about security with Copilot.
Microsoft 365 Copilot works with the data security controls you have in place for file access, labeling, classification, and data loss prevention. Mario Rogers works for Violet Martinez, and both are on the same team at Contoso. Mario and Violet are also members in the same group working on Project Falcon. Now we'll start with Violet, who's been working with the procurement and contract management teams to sell their partner ReliCloud 1,500 Mark 8 quadcopters. And you can see the file is labeled highly confidential with restricted access, and it describes all the terms in the purchase agreement. Because Violet has access to the file, she's able to search for and find it in SharePoint and Microsoft365.com. And of course, Violet can also navigate to the file's location in the Agreements folder of the project site to find the purchase agreement. So now let's look at Mario's experience. Even though he's on the same team and working on Project Falcon with Violet, if Mario tries to search for the Contoso purchase agreement, he won't find it. And there are a few purchasing documents that he does find without sensitive information, but not the one that Violet's working on. And if Mario knows the location of the purchase agreement and tries to navigate to it directly, it just appears as an empty folder to him. And when Mario launches Word on the web and creates a blank document, then prompts Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the Contoso purchase agreement as a reference file, because Microsoft 365 Copilot respects the file permissions of its user, Copilot also cannot access the purchase agreement. Now if we switch back to Violet's screen, because she has permission to access the purchase agreement, she can use Microsoft 365 Copilot to summarize the file. And after a moment, you'll see it created a summary of the purchase agreement, and Violet decides to keep it. Then data security controls for Microsoft Purview discover sensitive information found in the Microsoft 365 Copilot generated content. The document is automatically labeled as highly confidential, and policies are enforced to restrict access to the document.
Okay, so as you can see, it respects permissions that are in SharePoint in this example, right? So if I don't have access to it, Copilot's not going to find it. However, I saw a question here in the chat window during that demonstration about being able to sign to Copilot. And so one of the things that you want to consider here is to enable Copilot, I assign a license. There's a specific license I have to purchase and assign to you to be able to use Copilot. But the question becomes, am I ready to do that? And so as you saw in that video demonstration, I need to make sure that SharePoint permissions, in that example, permissions are properly set up. I need to make sure my security house is in order. And so there's several considerations there that you do want to think through and consider before you actually enable Copilot to ensure that an employee can't go use Copilot to find something that maybe they shouldn't be able to see or have access to, like something sensitive from HR as an example. And so there are some security controls that are available if you're on Business Standard or Business Premium of Microsoft 365, be able to secure that data, govern access to that data using Copilot. So just some considerations as you think through that. And so as you assign that license, the user gets an email, they're ready to use Copilot, but again, you want to make sure that that data and security house is in order and things are properly set up before you do that. Okay. One last thing I do want to talk about is as you start to think through how am I going to use Copilot, it's all in how you ask it questions. It's all in how you phrase what you're trying to tell it. And so Microsoft has developed a tool called Copilot Lab. It's free, it's out there on the internet. And this gives you hundreds and hundreds of prompts for you to try so you can get the most value out of Copilot. And so let me just show you just a quick demonstration of this, and then we'll kind of wrap up here and talk about next steps.
Introducing Copilot Lab, a new experience that will help people build new work habits for a new AI-powered era of productivity. Copilot Lab is a place to experiment, to learn the art and science of prompting. You'll learn how to turn a good prompt into a great one. Share your favorite prompts with coworkers, and get inspired as we all learn to work in a whole new way together.
So definitely a tool you want to consider as you start to use Copilot Lab to get ideas on how to ask it questions, what kind of prompts to try. All right, so Rory, I'm probably going to toss it back to you here in just a second, but folks, as you can see, there's a lot of capability here, and something you want to think through is what are the use cases of Copilot based on what you saw today? How do I take that to my organization and get value out of that? But also, what kind of pre-work do I need to do, like security, to maybe get ready for it? And then as I start using Copilot, how do I adopt it? And how do I make sure my end users are using it for its true meaning? So there's a lot to that. And also realize there's a lot more that Copilot can do. I kind of just showed you are the possible today. But Rory, let me go ahead and toss it back over to you. Thanks everybody for the time. And Rory, if you want to close us out, I'll stop presenting.
Thanks, Matt. Somebody just asked real quick, does Copilot refer to files that have passwords on them? So if I had a Word document and I had the word password and then XYZ, what's the security behind that?
Yeah, so Copilot respects your permissions. So if the file has if it's password protected, Copilot will not find it because it's password protected. Now, if I had permissions to a file that was not password protected, Copilot would find it. And if I did not have permissions, then it wouldn't even show up in the results. But because it's password protected, it's based on just my permissions. So if I have permissions to it, it'll find it, but it won't be able to open it up without that password. And Copilot's, at least not yet, it's not smart enough to be able to prompt you and say, hey, what's the password for that file? So hopefully that helps to kind of give you some ideas there. All right, so thanks everybody for the time investment, and Rory, I'll kind of turn it over to you to close us out.
Hey, thanks, Matt. appreciate it. Copilot is not the cheapest item on the block. It is a $30 per user per license agreement with Microsoft. It's an annual commitment. There is a minimum requirement that you have to have in terms of getting your Copilot license. So what we have done internally at Wheelhouse IT is we started with a small group of people to understand how does it work, what are the nuances, are we going to adopt it, things like that, and then slowly rolling it out little by little, by department to create like a true adoption plan, because it's such an investment. And then that's kind of the advice that we give to you as your organization is start with a small group of people, learn it. Copilot is only as good as the information you put into it. It's only as good as what you ask it to do at the same time. We have training internally at Wheelhouse IT. We're going to continue to do these sessions to be informational and educational to ensure that you're getting the most bang for your buck out of the license that you have. So we encourage you to reach out to your account manager, talk to someone and say, hey, listen, this is for us. Go through the security session with our team and say, hey, do we have everything set up the way that we should? So Sally in accounting can't see what sales is doing and vice versa. So that's a super high level of Copilot. We hope that you got something out of this. And I think another important part of this is to, and we can leave it here, and then this is not ChatGPT. This is secured in your own environment. So if you've been leveraging ChatGPT without Copilot, that's different. That's pulling information that millions of people across the globe are entering in. Copilot is leveraging the information that is in your environment. So it's learning from you, but internally within your four walls. And I think it's a big important part to discuss here. Matt, I'll leave it to you. Can you just wrap up on that and how the difference of the secure side of it versus if you were just using ChatGPT?
Yeah, so the big difference is ChatGPT is using your data to train the model, the AI algorithms. Whereas Copilot in Microsoft 365, it's not using your data to train anything. And actually everything stays within kind of that security boundary of your Microsoft 365 tenant. And so that's a big differentiator between using this and something like ChatGPT.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. I generally appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us. We'll post this webinar on our resource website. You'll also get an email after the fact that links you straight to it. So if you need to review back to it, send it off to a few people in your organization. We're here. We're happy to assist. So we thank you guys for spending the hour or so. So again, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.